So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second Monday of the third Monday of the month. We figure we're going to start each month out with a bang by, talking about some things that can help us make a difference in our lives and other people's lives, and then follow back up a couple of weeks later with another meeting to once again talk about ways and that we can make a difference. So I know Sam has asked us to challenge him to come up with some questions and that kind of stuff. And gosh, as hard as I try, I'm having a hard time coming up with questions. It's more like a question would be, what can we do to to make a difference every day in our own lives and other people's lives.
Okay, that's I guess like what you have to determine what motivates you, right? Like what will get you up in the morning, what your why is, what your mission is. Sometimes we're chasing a dream, that's always good. Sometimes we're running away from a nightmare. That can be good too, to get away from some pain or some strife. That's always good. But to have that clarity around what you want to achieve, that's absolutely critical. Because without that clarity, then you're just kind of, you're just flapping in the breeze, whichever way the wind blows, you're just blowing that direction. And going through the past 3 years or so, all the stuff that's gone on in the world, you kind of have to be very determined, very directional, very clear what your intentions are. Otherwise, you get other things to distract you, other things to occupy your time. So that first would probably be creating that vision about what you want to do, how you want to live. And JJ, you've seen me over the years, how I live my life and how I do things a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's completely intentional. A lot of people think that I'm kind of like aloof or something like that, but no, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly why I'm here. It's for other people to figure out what they're doing with their situation. But yeah, so what do you guys like? I guess what's on your guys's what's your why? Like, why do you guys get up in the morning? Or what drives you? Not too long ago, we just had a New Year's. It was 2023, 2022 going into 2023, and now it's the 20th of March. So it's almost more than 3 months gone already. And these years seem to go faster. So we have something that we're going about every day, every month, every year, and we just get closer and closer and closer to it. That's the goal, just having some big dream or some big why. Yeah, we don't have that why, then it's quite an issue.
So Sam, I gotta, real quickly, before we get into our whys, I want to introduce you to one of my favorite people in this whole wide world. He's right down below you on the screen, my buddy Nat Waterman. He lives in Grand Junction, Colorado. He's a pilot. When we buy our plane here soon, he's going to be our pilot, or at least one of them. And yeah, he when I got involved with Kangen Water, the first person I reached out to was him. And he shot me down like a Scud missile. And 5.5 years later, he bought himself a SD 501.
One of the best purchases I've made ever.
Yeah, it's a good purchase. And but I've been wanting to get you two together on a call because he's kind of a scientific mind too. Him and my other buddy Killjar, they get together around the campfire on a river trip and they sit and talk science, and everybody else is wondering what the heck they're talking about. You know, it doesn't even, everything they're saying is going right over everybody's head. You know, these two are yammering on about molecules and stuff.
I was a biochemistry in college, major in college.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Biochemistry, German, and music. And now I'm just a musician.
That's awesome.
But, you know, back to our whys, for me, I'll start that out. My why is I just quite frankly want to help people. Because I believe in the old, there's two things that really drive my why. Number one came from the book World Without Cancer, doing no less for others. You know, the reason I have the ability to live in a world without cancer is because someone was gracious enough to share some information with me. And after reading that information and deciding that that information was worth sharing with others, I gotta get up and do no less for others every day. I've got to share this information at any opportunity that comes along. And then, you know, that all goes right along with the name of this little gathering that we do twice a month, and that is making a difference. I want to go out and make a difference in people's lives. And what I've done is I've found these vehicles that are going to allow me to make so much difference in the world that's just flat out exciting, because I've been self-employed since I was 19 years old, and I don't have anything really to complain about. I've got all the, you know, I've got money, I've got a roof over my head, I've got a beautiful wife who loves me, I've got friends, I've you know, whatever. I don't really necessarily have anything to complain about or anything that I really actually need all that much, except I need to fix this knee of mine. But other than that, it's just trying to make the world a better place, you know, and that's kind of what we're all trying to do. And I've really gotten a great drive in that direction from being part of the Kangen Water family.
Yeah.
So,
You know, that's you know, whatever gets us up in the morning, whatever, you know, it's another Monday, 8 o'clock, a little past 8 o'clock my time, 9-10 o'clock, or wherever you guys are at. But everyone is getting ready, or they're getting in their car and they're driving off to this job, you know. And I got to some point in my life where I realized, wait, there's more that I want to do than just work and pay bills. Right? Being a part of a society is usually there's bills that you incur, right? There's cell phone bill, rent, mortgage, car payment, insurance, all this stuff, right? So there's got to be something more than just paying the bills. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a joy, and usually people find that joy, you know, usually on the weekends when they're hiking up the mountains, or they're spending, you know, time with their kids or nieces and nephews, and you know, it's usually something other than just a job that gets us up in the morning, you know. And so you have to have that clarity. You have to determine, okay, so what is it that I'm here for? Why was I born? Why, you know, and these are like deep, you know, they can be deep philosophical questions. And most people never sit there. They don't have the time to sit there and analyze all that, you know. But I got that clarity for myself when I hit my head and went to a coma, you know, in 2014. You know, I experienced the afterlife, and that kind of forced me to take a look at my time. You know, we're all given 80, 90, 100 years, or we're lucky. But what are you going to accomplish? What are you going to leave behind? What are you going to experience in that 80, 90, 100 years time? Because it goes quick. And you guys know it's going quicker as every birthday that we have.
Yep.
Much, much quicker than it did. Like, I don't know, back when I was in grade school, like the year took so long. Like summer went fast, but the school year took forever. Right? Yep. Now everything just goes fast. I can't believe it, you know, well, it's going to be April here pretty soon. You know. But we have to determine, and you know, and what gives you joy is what is the question that we should answer. What gives you joy? Because if you're you know, if you're doing something or you're living a life that doesn't create a lot of joy, that's a long-term torture program.
Long-term torture.
Right? Right? I mean, if you're not having fun, I mean, it's another week, right? If you're not gonna have some kind of fun or some kind of joy enter your life this week, that's gonna be a long week. You know, if every day is not filled with some kind of easy joy, right? And what I mean is easy joy, easily achievable joy. Some people have this joy that is very, very complex, very, you know, 100 steps is rarely achievable. And then they wonder why they're not happy because their joy is too complex. You know, find simple joys and live there. You know, when JJ, my son Spencer, he was home for spring break, and we got to go skiing up at Whistler. Just him and I on a you know, up there skiing a couple of days, 2-3 days. But he's studying mechanical engineering in college, right? And I remember asking him when he was like probably like 8 or 9 years old or something like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And at the time he was into these race cars, you know, kids, boys and cars, right? Boys, cars, planes and trains and all this stuff, right? And he goes, I want to work on I want to like design cars. And so I asked him this question. I asked him, so what do you need to know to design cars? If that's really your goal, what do you need to know? And this is like 8 and 9 years old, right?
How old is he now?
He's 19.
Okay.
He's 19. So you know, he said, I probably need some kind of schooling or some kind of, you know, some kind of education. I said, yeah, look into it. You know, just look into it. And so he was, you know, I didn't plant the seed that he needs to become an engineer. I said, hey, like, what gives you joy? What makes you most happy? And the same with my daughter. I said, you know, she's a gymnast right now. And I asked her, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And before she could answer, I said, make sure you choose something that makes you happy. Because we're in America, we get to choose over here. You know, but a lot of people in America, they chose incorrectly or chose wrong, because a lot of people are tortured today driving to their job. You know,
Right.
And isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that in this country you could be anything you want if you're dedicated, but so many people they feel like they're stuck in a job that they hate. Like everyone that has a nice job, they want early retirement. You know, so I guess we have to be a little bit more clear, because it's easy. I think in this society, it's very easy to get taken down the wrong path, right? Because people don't believe in their heart, they don't believe in themselves, and so we end up believing some expert, right? Whether it's a health expert, a financial expert, you know, some kind of expert that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. And then this is why the world is the way it is. You know, we keep on listening to other people, right? Or some professed expert. And you know my stance on the whole healthcare system, JJ.
Yeah.
But I think as more and more people get fed up and they get kind of like, what the hell is going on? It doesn't add up. You know, then people will go back and they'll think about, okay, well, wow, I get to make a choice here, right? And everyone gets to make a choice. It's just that we all make essentially the same choices because everyone's geared towards that way. Go to school and get a good job. Go to school and get a good job. And that's why I did that too, you know? And after a while, then I realized, wait, I'm more than just a worker. You know, there's a purpose to life. There's a reason for life, not just earning a paycheck and then just paying bills, you know.
Well, so, I know I did that. I went to school, got my degrees, went to work in a lab, and worked in a lab testing water samples out of a mine for several years. And I also built ski lifts, and with the help of my now ex-wife, but my wife at the time, pursued music full time. So I've been a full-time musician for the last 20 years, doing what I really love. And you're right. You talk about, these are questions that some people don't have the time or the inclination to even ponder. I remember when I was a kid, someone asked me, they said, would you rather be an artist that thinks like Van Gogh, or someone that thinks about, excuse me, got a frog in my throat, thinks about these things, or would you rather be a content, happy worker at a drill press somewhere? Or would you rather, maybe be a little bit tortured, but you think about this stuff? And that was just good. She said, you don't need to answer me, just food for thought. And so what you just said really resonates with me, because I've thought about that my whole life. Sure, it would probably be easier in our soul to just be a simple drill press machinist and go home and drink your beer and be happy. But you miss the spice of life.
True. And I think for some reason, it kind of, that spice of life, you see that sparkle in kids' eyes. You see them have so much fun and joy at the simplest of things.
Yes.
And then over time, it kind of, I don't know what happens, like being practical kind of creeps in, and then that sparkle kind of gets beat out of you, right? And then you got to take a practical job, right? Yep. Because now you got to be you got to have a great credit score. You got to be presentable in society. You got to swim along where all the other fish are swimming, right?
Yeah.
But if you ask everyone in those, in that lane, in their career, what's the big dream? Pretty much everyone says, retire early and go travel the world or something like that, right? And so I always thought, why don't you make a career out of that? Why don't you make a career out of your dream? Because there's travel agents, there's people that work for airlines just for the benefits, right?
Right.
And instead of just this delayed gratification, right? Work. And now they're talking about raising the retirement age to 70. Right? When lifespan is like, it used to be 78 and it's 77. It's like, wait, put in 70 years of work to get 7 years off if you can be healthy, the last
right.
7 years. I'm like, man, there's some bad math going on.
Yeah.
Especially when most of the people that are 70 years old that are out there now can barely walk.
Exactly, right? Like who came up with this racket?
Yeah.
Like, and so
Sam, something I'd like to ask you, and have you expand upon. You were talking about finding simple joy. And the thing about our lives, the way this world seems to work nowadays, is that everything has to be complicated. For something to be useful, for something to be helpful, for something to work, it has to be complicated. It can't be something simple. It's got to be complicated. And, like when it comes to our health, getting our health, keeping our health, whatever, that's something that's like super complicated, and only doctors know about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, as it turns out, the best thing you can do for your health is the simplest thing of all. That's your thought process too, right? And
yeah.
Can you kind of expand on how Kangen Water has brought simple health to your life?
Yeah, so we have to acknowledge that something's not working in society. There are things that work, like It's great that we can get on this technology, and it's complicated technology here. It's great that we can get on here and we can all meet and share ideas, right? And this is a useful tool, right? But there are other things that, what's that noise there? I hear something buzzing or something. But there are other things out there that are going on that are just way too complex, right? And primarily amongst them is healthcare. And for me personally, I'll be 52 this year in October. So it's weird. I always point to the higher number as opposed to the younger number. Like everyone wants to be younger. I'm actually looking forward to getting older because I have an edge of staying healthy now. Right? Hey, Paul, is that your phone making that? I hear like a buzzing noise. Maybe you can put your microphone on mute or something?
I think I'm muted. Am I muted?
No,
No.
There it is. Okay, good. And so I have this idea, and I've tested this out. When you go to a third world country, right, and their life is subsistence living, right? They're growing food and they're just doing they've got the rice paddies and they're walking behind water buffalo and things like that. How come they're so happy in the villages? They just get up in the morning, they do their thing, and they hang out with their buddies and go fishing and catch a fish and share it with the family. And but over here in our society, it seems so hard to get joy. It seems so difficult, right? And when I visited Burma, Myanmar, went to the villages, and I figured out that wow, the village people are much happier than the city people. The city people are riding in these buses that are hanging out the doors and they're hanging out the windows. It's just hanging out of these buses, right? And they're going to a place to stand in a place to sell an item here or something like that. Meanwhile, in the village, the kids go to school, and then they go home and they go fishing with their, jump off the bridge with their friends, right? But there wasn't much to do because there wasn't all this technology for them, right? And so it's just, we've been sold this bill of goods. We've been sold this bill of complexity, right, over the years. And I think that's just part of being in a modern society. You got to have one of these cell phones now, one of these smartphones, right? But they cost, usually hundreds of dollars. And so every 2 or 3 years, someone buys a new phone and they spend $1,100 on an iPhone, and I spend like $200 on a Motorola, and I use the same 3 apps that I've been using, for the past 10 years, right? But everyone, it's like all this keeping up with the Joneses, and when you don't buy into that, then you can really simplify your life. Like I have a 2002 Acura TL. We have 4 drivers in the house now, so we got 4 cars. A Honda Odyssey minivan, a Toyota Prius, and then Infinity, right? And my oldest car is 2002. It's older than my oldest child, right? It's 21-year-old Acura TL, right? And my friend's like, man, why do you still have that car?
Because it gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah. Like I, maybe I'll start asking them back. So, hey, do you still have the same hammer you did 20, 30 years ago? Does it still pound nails pretty good? That's the design purpose of a hammer, right? Like how come you don't have that on a side hook on your hip and you're showing it off to your friends all the time? Because it's a hammer. It's just a tool. It doesn't define us. But for some reason, you got to have the latest phone because it's a fashion accessory or something. You got to have the latest shoes, and I guess like jeans. Now we're back to baggy jeans again. They used to be skinny jeans, but I guess like now we've gone the other way and back to baggy jeans. Like you got to keep up with all these trends. What I mean? And I just don't keep up with any of it. I'm like, hey, maybe I'll just dig up my Costco jeans again because they're baggy type, and now I'll be back in style again.
Well, that's the old saw that fashion comes back around about every 30 years. Just go to the back of your closet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, right? And so there's this constant change. There's this constant change and this constant newness, right? That people have to keep up with. And I just don't buy into all of it, right? I was at the driver's like renewing my car tabs, and my car tabs are like $75. And the guy in front of me, I was kind of eavesdropping on his conversation with the person, and the person told him the final price. It was like $1,306. And I was like, damn, what kind of car do you drive? because I I was there to buy my tabs. It was 75. It's like $1,300. And then so after I was just there picking up, I ordered mine online and I was just there to pick it up. So I walk out and he jumps into his Tesla. Right?
Oh, man.
It's like $1,300 tab just for the
License plates.
just for the what is it, the privilege of driving on the same road that I drive on. And I was just like, I mean, you got the money. If you got the money, that's fantastic, but I've got the money, but I just don't want the liability, because I realize that most people, and a lot of my relatives have Teslas now, and I realize that they have this fancy car that takes them to the same job that they're working for the past 10, 20, 30 years, right? And they're earning that paycheck to put towards the note that they took on the car.
Yeah.
Right. Because most of them didn't like drop 100 grand for their car. So they bought a depreciating liability, and they're spending their time to earn money to pay the $600-700 car payment every month. Right. And a car is just like a cell phone, right? There's always going to be a next year's model with more features, which means your phone from last year is not as attractive or is not as up to date anymore.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. That's what a Tesla is. It's a fancy cell phone, basically. It's a fancy tool. It's a fancy hammer. And so, if we can just look at getting back to simplicity. I don't live to work. I work to live. The important thing is my life. The important thing is the joy. The important thing is the happiness. The important thing is not the job. The job is just a tool to me. It's a means to an ends. Right. And so, for me being in Kangen, JJ, I literally think about Kangen and do Kangen like all the time. When I'm skiing, you guys know, like, I'm a snowboard and ski instructor during the winter. I'm fanatic about that, right? But when I'm skiing, it's like a country club up there. I ski like this Wednesday. Today's Monday, so Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I'll be up skiing, snowboarding again. But who's up there on a midweek? Who's up on a ski slope in the midweek?
Usually, yeah, retirees usually.
Yeah, retirees or business owners that have free time, or bosses.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They're the ones that are skiing, right? But then there's also workers at the ski resort, and those workers usually don't have any money, but they're living there for the passion. I call them my mountain people. People with the right priorities, and we call it our office. I have the best office in the world. It's up in the mountains.
What area do you ski?
Stevens Pass.
Is that's the resort or the mountain?
Stevens Pass, up in north of Seattle a little bit.
Okay. I worked for Poma for about 10 years and built lots of ski lifts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for what you did, setting all this playground up for us.
Yes. Oh, I was up in Whistler. I've been all over the country putting up ski lifts.
Wow.
But no, I like what you say about you work to live, not live to work.
Yeah.
That is true. My brother is an investment banker in London with his family, And I know he's going to retire with a lot more zeros in his bank than I have, but
Yeah.
I have a lot more experiences that I'll be able to look back that I probably didn't have as fancy cars like you were talking about,
Yeah.
driving a Tesla and all that shit. But I have the joy of getting to go fly. So I own a plane, but it's like a VW with wings, little bitty plane.
Mhm.
And I get to go up with my 10-year-old son and fly around with him and look at all the sights. I get to go river rafting with him. Yeah, I don't get to go to the Maldives and go scuba diving and all the fancy stuff, but I get to have a lot more. And that's that trade-off of
Yeah.
what's important. So what you're saying really resonates.
Yeah. Because, I've my dad passed away in 2019. But he was sick. He was 84. He was sick for like 10, 20 years with congestive heart failure, right?
Oof.
But putting together his slideshow, because all of us are going to be a slideshow at a funeral home, essentially, right? That's the culmination of our life, right? Like, you got hopefully a lot of people gathered at the funeral home, and then people come up and say little speeches about how you impacted their life, and then they usually have some slide deck or some pictures about your time with family, the Disneyland picture, when you were scuba diving and you had your mask on, some funny pictures, right? But no one ever has a picture of their diploma. I've been to a few funerals.
Yeah.
And no one ever
Good
has
point.
the diploma. Once in a while they have a picture of them leaning against their classic Camaro or Trans Am or something like that. Once in a while, but usually it's picture with people doing activities. Water skiing, something like that. And so that's how I worked it backwards. And I know that my kids are going to put together my slideshow someday, hopefully a long time from now, right? And so, what is it that I want in my slideshow?
Yeah.
Right. That's how I choose to live. Right. What is it that I want in my slideshow? Because it's an experience. Life is an experience. And so you have to put those experiences in, because then you're making your life. If a lot of people is like, they're working dead end jobs. They don't know it's a dead end job, but all jobs are dead ends, right? Right? All jobs are dead ends. So the job itself has to be something more than just a job. There's got to be something more than just a paycheck that comes out of that job. It has to bring some kind of joy, has to bring some kind of meaning, bring something other than just the dollars and cents.
Yep.
And hopefully we get to determine what that meaning is. Because if we don't give meaning to our own life, then man, might as well be a robot.
Yeah. Sam, that's what I love so much about you and meeting with you. I'm so grateful that you give us the time that you do a couple times a month, because I always come away from these meetings just with a big page full of notes and things to think about, things that are important that I should be thinking about. And most people never even get that chance in their life to even consider the things that we're sitting here talking about today. And the only reason that I have this ability to get together with you is because of the fact that Tim McGaffin was so adamant about sharing Kangen water. And eventually I took a look at it, and I love what Daniel Demicali said. And I look at these meetings that we're going to be having a couple times a month as exactly this, what he said, which was that Kangen water is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached to it. And I'll tell you, 6 years ago, March 17th, St. Patty's Day is my anniversary date every year for getting involved with Kangen Water. And like most all of the great people that are in my life today are because of Kangen Water. All the really good things that I have going on in my life today are because of the things and people that I met because of getting involved with Kangen Water. I honestly I really haven't met anybody in Kangen Water that I just truly do not like. There's a couple of people I have, like, I don't like the way they do things, but, they're all good people trying to do good things, trying to make a difference in the world, and that's what this is all about, is hopefully what we can do here is give people ideas that will get their brains turning, that will help them to go out and make more of a difference in the world, not only for themselves, but for other people. And you just give me so much to think about, dude. I love it. That's why
So one of the things, JJ, one of the things that, when you're sharing something that you know to be true, okay, personally, you've experienced the water, you experienced some kind of technology, you've had, you slipped and fell yourself, and then now hey, that's a slippery spot. Be careful there, right? You slipped on the ice, and then you want to warn the people around you, hey, this is a very slippery spot. Hold the handrail in this area, right? So you're sharing some kind of truth, but sometimes people don't want to believe you, right? And because you get joy from sharing truth, and you get joy from helping people, and people don't want to listen to you sometimes, right? Or they're doubtful, they're skeptical, right? You got to be okay with letting them take the ride. Let them hit the wall. Right? Because you can't diminish the mission that you're on for some people that are stubborn out there, right? Because that's our society. Society makes people intelligent by replacing their common sense.
Intelligent, but not wise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to acknowledge that, yes, we're in a very modern, intelligent society, right? But look at us. We're talking about nuclear war. We're putting chemicals in our water. We're spraying our food with pesticides and herbicides, and we're wondering why, like, everyone's got food allergies.
Yeah.
Doesn't hello? That's pretty common. That's pretty obvious. If you're researching, the life cycle of dolphins or something, you're a marine biologist. And someone called you up one day, it's like, hey, we've got like 10,000 dolphins that all of a sudden started floating upside down here. Are you like, is your first response going to be like, hey, let's look at the genetics? I mean, if that's your first response, then you're pretty dense, because genetics doesn't happen overnight. But for me, I would say, hey, did someone pollute the ocean or something, or did something happen? Because yesterday they were fine and today they're not. But all these experts, they keep on telling us, oh, it's this, it's that. It's like, the thing is, we got to start listening to what is common sense.
Yeah.
Right. For all
Coming from a recovering scientist.
Yeah. For all the financial experts on this planet, how come every country is in debt? I mean, finance is just basically math, right?
Yeah.
Spend less than you make. I mean, that's pretty common. Like, if you only got $1, guess what the maximum you can spend is? $1.
Right.
But somehow that kind of logic doesn't work in government. And those are the experts, right? And so there's got to be and I kind of feel in our society that there's this sense that people are throwing off like all these modern experts, which is rightly so, because after what we've gone through the past 3 years here, everything is suspect in my book.
Yeah.
All these experts are suspect now. Like if you're gonna tell me, this shot or this pill is gonna do it, like, well, aren't you a pill seller? So your advice is a little biased then. So what's your business model here? Just straight up, what's your business model? You're gonna sell me a pill? Well, yeah, you're a pharmaceutical company. That's the business model. But no one sees it. No one looks at it like that. So that's my abilities. I actually like cut to the chase, and I can see, so I can explain something very difficult that's very complex in layman's terms. And that's how I just look at the world. I just look at the world, hey, it's Monday. What am I going to do today? How am I gonna be happy? How am I gonna impact someone's life? And it's just a very small thing, right? I don't need to change the world on a Monday. I just need to go get a cup of water, have some breakfast, go take a shower, and then go hang out with my friends or something. It's very simple. But then you start putting days like that and weeks like that. And pretty soon, you arrive at this life that you have all these friends, and you're out there, playing music and hanging out, like every day is a Friday, right? And I just found a way, JJ, with Kangen, to get paid to drink water. Literally, I get paid to drink water, guys. Like everywhere I go, I bring this orange bottle with me, and people asking like, what are you drinking all the time? Because like every picture, you're wearing a baseball cap, you're with some mountains on it, and then you're up in the mountains, and you got this water bottle. What is that? What do you do? I don't understand what you do, because it's a Wednesday and you're out skiing. It's a Wednesday and I'm at work, but you're out skiing. Like, what the hell do you do? Right? And I tell them, well, I got out of the trading time for dollars business, and I got into the trading information for dollars. Really? So yeah, like I'm an information dealer.
I love that. An
Yes,
information.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about a slideshow at the funeral home,
Mhm.
and I had a very wise friend of mine say, you write one book a year. Every day is one page.
Yep.
What are you going to write on this page?
Yep.
And when you die, you're going to have a library.
Yep.
You're going to have 70, 80 books, 60, 70, 80 books. And are people going to want to read those books?
Yep.
Are they going to get through two of them or three? And we'll take away the first, 10 years of your life, because you're going to be talking about Legos and shit. But, when you start becoming a formative youth, do they want to read your experiences? And he said, so you've got one page a day. Make that page worthy of the words you put on it.
Yep. For sure. And that's what makes a good life. Some kind of direction, some kind of clarity, and then intentional living, not accidental living.
I like that. Lately I've found myself, JJ is a wonderful man. He pretty much saved my life when I first met him. We were rafting, not together. I was kayaking and he was on a raft, and I was hypothermic, and he pulled me out of the river, and I very potentially could have died. I was hypothermic in a bad way, and I didn't know where I was, and he was like, nope, you're done, you're out, and pretty much saved my life. And we've been just brothers ever since. But he was the one to, he's been so instrumental in Kangen water. And like he said, I was like, whatever, dude. And I finally, after years, and I researched it, but I'm like you. I was a biochemistry major. I'm very well aware of oxidation reduction and all of that, everything. So I was pretty skeptical. And I finally, on a river trip, he said, here, drink this. I wasn't feeling well, and it sold me, and I got this machine. And lately I feel like I'm channeling JJ, because people will come over to my house and they're like, I'm a musician, so we stay out late, and usually my fellow musicians drink too much. And I was like, they come up and they're hungover, and I said, here, try this water. Trust me, try it. And they're like, holy crap, this is the real deal. And I'm like, yeah, it's this machine. And I know for me, part of it was the cost at first. Well, not at first, but that's why I held out. But now I just talk about Kangen water to everyone I know. I fly over bags of water to my uncle a couple hours away. And every 3 or 4 weeks, I'll fly him over a couple of bags of water. And he's an extreme athlete. He's 70 something. And like, here's your Kangen water. And we trade off bags, and I'll fly back a few weeks later. So, yeah.
That's the most amazing thing is like, as a person who's been educated in America here, I started to read up on the papers about electrolyzed reduced water, and I saw the authors, and you might have seen this too. I saw some of the authors in the early papers I read, and they're like Japanese and Korean, and then there's some people that had Italian last names, and I'm like, what the hell? How come everyone else in the world knows about this except me? And I was like, I thought science was science, just like math is math, right? 1 + 1 = 2 in every continent, right? It doesn't change when you go to Japan. 1 + 1 = 2 over there too, right? You would think so, right? Engineering principles, scientific principles, mathematical principles should be the same in every country, right? But apparently they're not. And that's what got me going. I'm like, what the hell? Like, am I living in this dystopian world, or this matrix over here in America that I don't get told everything? Right?
Yeah.
And it's just water. I mean, it's just electricity and water, right? It's not like some black box that's unknown. Like, no, it's electrolysis. It's very simple. You just put in a lot of electricity, and it pulls minerals to one side or the other and makes hydrogen.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's not overly complex.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. Right?
Like
And
you
he's
said,
not-
Sam, I can't set the bar any lower. I mean, it's clear down here.
Yeah.
You can't jump
Right.
over that bar.
Yeah. And so so when we share with people, and this is why I love about what I do, because I'm sharing the truth, and whether they believe it this year or after their heart attack, or after their relative dies or something, I'm sharing the truth, and I'm always going to share the truth. I mean, it's water. Like, what's not true about water? And electricity, and being healthy, and prevention, right? For the people that don't choose to believe in that because they're hung up on the money, or they're hung up on the scientific belief, or the medical programming, then they're the ones hung up. I'm just gonna have to come back around. Like, it's not your time yet. You gotta hit your head like I did and go into a coma and have this awakening process. And then maybe you'll be ready. Call me when you have that process.
Sam, you're awesome, bro. I've tried your theory, and people don't like me, bro. I wished I was as educated as you are so I could back it up.
No, but here's the thing: you don't have to be educated, because we're talking simplicity. We're talking life.
You're right. And when you say talk the truth, I feel that I talk the truth, and if people don't like it, they can kiss my ass. I love you, brother.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I just share with people, and if we're looked at like we're upside down, okay? If I'm the spreader of false information, okay, then there would be no results to what I'm sharing.
Amen.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm sharing something, or I'm in alignment with some kind of truth, then I'm going to get a lot of validation personally. I'm going to be healthy, and then I'm going to meet other people like you guys that are also on the water, and you're going to share with me your testimony. And after a while, either I'm making this stuff up, And all these people are lying, and all these YouTube video people giving their testimony. Either they're all a bunch of liars, or there's something here that I'm missing out on. And that's what I got to. When I was doing my due diligence, I was like, there's all this stuff bashing Kangen, and then there's all these people talking about their acid reflux and gout and arthritis, all this stuff. And I was like, man, either all these people are liars, or there's something to this. Right. And then I said, well, I started reading all the research papers, and I was like, what the hell am I doing reading research? It's just freaking water. Like literally, I'm going to read about research on water without drinking it. Like drinking it is probably the best research because it's just water.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I tell people that, hey, it's a really low bar. It's something really, really difficult.
Well, it's like you said, Sam, people will put all this crap in their body without even giving it a thought.
Yeah.
But then you talk to them about water and they become researchers.
Yeah.
They
No,
go
All the
nowhere.
time. All the time.
There's people have no problem drinking some rainbow colored, cappuccino from Starbucks.
Rainbow
Or was it pumpkin spice latte with that comes out every fall, every November, no, not October. Some new drink comes out, and they're like, dude, you think they're squeezing real pumpkins into every cup there? There's a pumpkin squeezer working for Starbucks, like making like essential oil of pumpkin for your pumpkins, 2 pumps of spice. Like that's some chemical, dude.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Right? And it's just like we're not dealing with like we're almost, well, I'm pretty sure we're in the zombie apocalypse, because there's a lot of people that just don't think.
They don't get it.
They just don't get it. Why would I pay $100 grand just to take me to the same job that I hate, right? To collect the paycheck so I can send it off to service the note on the car that takes me to work.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
I don't get that, and just we're this overly complex society, and so there's a push now, and a lot of people are like pushing back against how we've gone off the cliff and off the edge with all this complexity, right?
Well,
And
that's consumerism. That's
Yeah.
a well-defined consumerism on purpose. That's
Yeah.
marketing. That's saying, you, like you said, you got to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
And people finally are saying, I've had enough.
Yeah. It's unsustainable. It's completely unsustainable.
Do you remember what George Bush said after 9/11?
Yeah, go shopping.
Go shopping.
That's the crazy. We're gonna create world peace by going shopping. So
Yeah,
crazy.
well, I'm sure a lot of people followed his advice.
Yeah, I went shopping for firearms, but tragically, I lost them all in a
I
boating accident.
don't
So
think we're
I
taking
don't-
one, but Tom's down there. Yeah, we've got everything tore up and
Hang on.
stuff out.
JJ, put Paul and
There we go. He's on mute now.
there. Okay. So yeah, so it's just getting back to the simplicity, right? Because either you have very complex happiness,
Sorry, boy.
and joy, you have very complex happiness and joy, or you have very simple happiness and joy. But you get to define them, right? You get to define them. And if you can't have clarity about what your joy and happiness is, you're just bouncing off the walls, and you don't have any clarity. You're just, one day it's voting this way and the next day it's voting that way, right? And so all we got to do is vote harder in this country, right? No, that's not the answer, is to vote harder. Get really serious about your voting and get militant, almost. Militant voters, that's what we need. No, we don't need militant voters. We don't need anything militant, or like there's I have some friends that are vegan, and some of them are militant vegan. You know, have you ever met a militant vegan person? You know,
Oh,
like,
Jesus, yes.
it's like, okay, take it easy, take it easy. Don't be offended. Don't be offended that I got chicken on my salad here. Okay, just take it easy. And
Oh, yeah.
right, but you gotta be able to have clarity around what your joy is, and hopefully that clarity involves some kind of simplicity. Because if it's a 20-step process to get your joy, and it's on the top of Mount Kilimanjaro or some mountain top of Mount Everest, man, that's pretty complex, you know. And so yeah, do a 2-step joy process, and it's just, hey, having a great shower in the morning, a nice warm shower, man, that and so I got some music playing, that's simple joy. You know, going for a walk, you know, just walking out and hearing the birds chirp because it's spring now, and you can hear the little bird songs, you know, simple joys. It doesn't have to be like, oh, my stock, you know, my 401k's got to hit this number before I have a smile on my face, you know, and it, you know, the market's been going down, so everyone's like grumpy now because they're going the wrong direction. You know, it's got to be some other kind of joy.
That's what I love about you, Sam, the way you're always making me think. And I love it because you get me thinking about the right things that I should be thinking about instead of maybe other things that I really shouldn't be thinking about, right? You know, and that's the beauty of what we've got going on here. And you know, I'm so grateful to Mr. Oshiro for having the vision to create this personal development program with a water device attached to it. And
True.
you know, I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that you come in here and make us think every couple weeks.
So when you guys are sharing, when I share of water, like okay, let me ask you guys this. When you donate to like Goodwill or Salvation Army, like, do you need a receipt? Do you need a receipt for tax purposes? You know, or do you need a receipt? You need a little plaque on the wall to say, hey, I donated, you know, I donated blood, or don't, you know, like, do you need like some kind of virtue signaling? You remember when back in the day, everyone is virtue signaling, they got the shots and all this stuff, right? Like,
Right.
we don't need that, right? We don't need that. And so when we're sharing the truth, I don't need someone to believe me. I'm just sharing the truth. And whether they believe me or not is up to them. Because what I'm sharing is the truth. I'm sharing something really simple. It's water with electricity in it. And when you drink that water with electricity in it, your body's going to have this extra electricity to do work, to detox your body, give you more energy, clarity of thought, whatever. But if you don't need that, it's okay. I'll catch you next time. Right? And so it's just as simple as that. But if someone wants to believe it, great. I'll give you a couple gallons, finish it this week. And then next week, I'll give you a couple more gallons, finish that, and do that for a month. And then I'm going to cut you off. And then when I cut you off, then you got to go back to drinking your coffee and drinking your water and Coca-Cola. And you tell me what the difference is, what the mental fog is. It's a little test. It's a very simple test. You know, I call them my little clinical trials.
I like how you put that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Do this
Sam,
for
it's
30 days.
amazing because when I first got involved with Con, I used to get frustrated and even a little bit angry with especially friends and family
Yeah.
that wouldn't look and wouldn't pay attention and that kind of stuff. I'd get frustrated and irritated by it. And after meeting you and getting your mindset, I don't get angry or frustrated at all anymore. Nothing. I'm like, you're not interested? Fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No, because because JJ, the truth, like the truth doesn't need marketing. The truth doesn't need marketing. It doesn't need you don't need to yell the truth from the mountaintops. The truth is apparent, right? You know what needs marketing is the lies. What needs the studies, the experts to be talking on CNN every 5 minutes is the lies.
Yeah.
But the truth, like Mother Nature is great without all the billboards, right?
Yeah.
Music is fantastic without all the record deals.
You know, that's a great place to finish off today's meeting, because we're at an hour now, and
Mhm.
we got to get moving, get on with our day and get out there making a difference. But you know, the truth doesn't need marketing. It's like what the founders said in the Declaration when they said, right at the very beginning, they said, we hold these truths to be self-evident.
There we go.
That means we don't need to sit and talk about them. We don't need to discuss them. These are self-evident to every single person sitting in this room. We're not going to waste any time on that.
Mhm.
The truth
Yep.
doesn't need marketing. It just needs to be told. It needs to be understood.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a beautiful thing. I know that I feel way better about being able to go out and make a difference today in somebody's life, and especially starting with my own. And I hope that everybody that's here today has gotten something out of this. If anybody has any question, any last question or anything for Sam before we head out of here, go ahead and let her rip.
I would
Sorry
just-
for interrupting, guys.
No
No,
worries.
you're good, Paul. You're good.
The truth
Soda
is
pop delivery truck.
Oh, well, I love you guys. I love all you guys. Sylvia, it's good seeing you here today, huh? I'm glad you made it. And Nat, love you. Paul, Rodgar, Corolla, and Sam, brother, I can't tell you how much I love you, how much I appreciate it. And just looking forward to 2 weeks from now when we can do this again and spend a little bit of time making a difference. And I'll get this up today, get it out there so people can read and see it. I recommend sharing it out. This is kind of like that old morning motivation thing that we used to do every morning, except it's just going to be a couple times a month.
Yep.
And that's kind of my hope for this, is that, you know, this can be some sort of a motivational thing a couple times a month to fire people up a little bit, get them excited about methods of madness. Yep. That they can figure out and that we can help them figure out, and they can, you know, we can get out and do exactly what we're talking about, make a difference.
Yeah.
That
Sylvia,
sounds good,
you
Sam.
pull yourself up because you wanted to ask a question, or because if you do want to say something, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah, well, I have one question. We have moved to South America, so and I have some issues getting a high pH on, like, with the machine. So I'm trying to find out what the reason can be. I have talked to Enagic customer service, but yeah, it's kind of difficult to get Enagic products here because there's no branch in Paraguay. So
I think Brazil is the nearest by, right?
Yeah, because sometimes if your water is too soft, if your water doesn't have enough minerals, because this machine is an ionizer, right? So it pulls minerals, it concentrates minerals that are already in the water. But if your water is not very hard, meaning that it doesn't have enough minerals, there's a little round mineral cartridge, like a little tube that you can put, I think it's calcium sulfite or some kind of alkalizing mineral that you can supplement the water with.
Okay.
It's pretty rare. It's pretty rare to have soft water these days because
Well, it's rainwater, so that's the difference.
what's that?
It's rainwater, not ground.
Oh, it's rainwater. Okay, so yeah, because rainwater is less mineralized than water that's been running through rocks and minerals like that. So you might look into utilizing that mineral cartridge that's above your salt tank. That's above because you have a SD 501 or a K8 or something.
8.
Okay, yeah, look into the adding the mineral enhancer, the mineral cartridge for it.
You
And
can
I
get
can
a
get 'em-
mineral from Enagic. You can order the minerals to go in that.
Okay.
And it's probably a mineral that your body can actually absorb.
Yeah.
So that's probably the route you want to go, is get the one that Enagic offers.
But it is. I have come across that situation. It was someone that's also collecting rainwater too, and so
Okay.
yeah, we have, because water has minerals, and usually all the animals are drinking from rivers and streams. They're not really collecting their rainwater and drinking it. You know, they're drinking water that's already run through a bunch of rocks, and so that's why water has minerals in it normally.
Yeah.
But look into that. Okay, ask them about like the mineral additive, because I suspect that your water is softer water. It doesn't have enough minerals.
Yeah, that's what are there different types of minerals that I would need to choose from, or is there just one particular?
There's one that they recommend on their corporate website. I don't know exactly what, but you can go in there and you can look at maybe I'll send a link to JJ and he can get it to you, Sylvia.
Some
Or you can just message me on Facebook Messenger or reach out to me.
If you
That's
just
what I
go,
did. Yeah,
Sylvia,
to go.
if you just go to enagic.com and go to the store, it's in the supplies section. It's just a little cartridge of mineral, like calcium sulfate or something like that.
Yeah.
JJ, if you have it up,
put
share
the little
screen.
cartridge on the machine, and then you'll need to replenish that. You probably can find out exactly what it is, and then get it in larger quantity.
Yeah. Or you can find some local supplier, because the machine doesn't really need a lot of extra things. You could probably find it locally too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll help you look into that. I'm curious. Someone else asked that same question recently. So
yeah, well, I have been trying to find out about this for a few weeks now, or so yeah.
Okay, I'll send a link to JJ and he can get it to you too.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I texted you on not on Instagram, on Messenger.
Okay.
So but it's been a few weeks ago, so yeah.
Shoot me another text so it pops up on the top there.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, kids. Well, it's been another fun making a different show, and that was I got some giggles and learned some things, and I hope you guys did too. It's great seeing you all. And
Sam, it was a pleasure meeting you, sir.
Nice meeting you too.
Love you guys.
Nerd out sometimes. Let the nerd out sometime and talk biochemistry.
Yeah, we got to get on a river trip. We got to get a trip going here, and you're gonna have to
Don't
come
fall
down
in the river if you got on the river trip.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Okay.
Thank you.
You too.
That's great.
Bye.
Love you guys.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Hootie.
Bye.
Hootie hoo.
Woody Poo!